Hello and welcome back to Transport Fever 2, the UK modded series. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video. Last time out, we did an adjustment over here with the new railway station that doesn't go into the actual quarry. I did see in a comment someone made a comment about what I could use instead to do little railways and narrow gauge railways through the quarry. I thought there were railways that went through. There are railways, they are narrow gauge, and all they would do is just bring stone or whatever it is out of the quarry and up to what could be a mainline train or just a standard gauge train that would then go ahead and go to wherever it needs to go. So that is something I am going to be looking into. I'm not 100% certain how I'm going to implement it yet, but well, you never know. I might manage to implement this rather well. However, that is not the aim for this particular video. As you may have seen, I'm trying to figure out what accent that could be. As you may have seen from the title, what I'm going to be doing today is going to be a detailing episode. So it is going to be a time lapse. I think I will probably, I'll try to make it as short as possible on the time lapse, but you never know. But I'm going to be trying to do a little bit of work with trees on the edge of lines, fencing, perhaps some farms, things like that is what I'm going to be looking into. And it isn't going to be a massive amount of detail. I'm not going to be able to do top to the bottom of the map. I might start actually with placing some more farms in areas where I've forgotten, slightly north. But I am going to try and get a fair amount of it done. It is by no means anywhere near finished, and even once I have done the detailing, I think that the detailing is going to change going forward, and I'm going to have to make some adjustments here and there. As you can see at this point in time, I am stalling, waiting for the train to arrive. Surely it cannot be that far away. It must only be a few seconds away. But that is the point and the aim of this particular video. Very quickly before I continue, if you do like these videos, make sure you are hitting the like button, make sure you're subscribing, and well, potentially if you want to, supporting on Patreon. I do try to make these videos once a week. Unfortunately, I cannot really, I do not have the time to make them more than once a week, but I will do my very best. You know what, that is enough stalling. The train is clearly not arriving, so I might as well go to the intro, and then from the intro it will go straight into a time lapse. I hope you enjoy, and I will see you at the end of the time lapse for the conclusion. I suppose, yeah, it would be the conclusion. It's not really the conclusion, is it? It's the post time lapse report. There we go. That's what it will be. Anyway, that's enough of me blabbering. Roll on the intro, roll on the time lapse. there we have it, the end of that time lapse. I'm not entirely sure how long that time lapse was in terms of real time. I think it may have been 3 hours or so, maybe 2.5, 3 hours. I'm not entirely certain, but there we go. Now, one of the parts that you saw happening in the time lapse was, of course, this cutting into the terrain, where you can see that we have the rose field that I set up a few episodes ago. Behind that is actually a wheat field that you cannot see. In fact, if you look very closely in the bushes, the borders on the right hand side, you may just see the yellow of the wheat field. But anyway, the main part that I did here, of course, was this section here, this cutting. You can see that I've sort of put scree across it. I've put some grass, I've added some tulips, I've added some other flowers. I can't remember if I put some dandelions here or not. And some of these trees. These are sugar maples, I believe. In addition to that, you may have seen me obviously put the fencing down. Now, I have spoken to one of my patrons who has told me that in Britain, the majority of the fencing would not be down on the track level all the way down there. That's a fairly good picture. It would not be on the track level down there, but instead would be up, I suppose, where these borders are for the field. So I'm sort of half debating whether to get rid of that or just to leave that in and just say, well, in this world, I'd like to have the fencing down at the bottom. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. Maybe just leave it for this area and then everywhere else sort it out. Other things that I have done that you may be able to see right here is the tracks. You may have seen towards the end of the time lapse, I was changing out the tracks. These are, I think they're Killicans's tracks. These are bullhead tracks. This is what you find in the United Kingdom. I am actually quite surprised as to how much of a difference that these tracks do make. Just changing out these tracks makes a massive difference just to how nice everything looks. Now, unfortunately, if I just get out of this, continue playing it, there we go. You will notice that there are points on this, for example at the junctions, where the tracks are not the same. So these tracks cannot be used on the junctions, which is really annoying. I hope that an update allows Killicans to actually sort this out. I'm fairly sure it was Killicans. If it's not, I apologise to the mod author. But I should have just asked him first, was this yours? So all that we've got are texture changes instead. Now the texture changes that are there instead still are rather good, but they're not quite as good as obviously these tracks. One of the things you'll notice here is, look at these little grooves, or actually are they tongues, that stick out here, which are not present on these. Also, these tracks are much further sunk in. The wooden sleepers are much further sunk in here than these ones, which are a lot higher up. So, there goes a train on its way back. Other parts that you may have seen me do, of course, was the woodland here. I did some additional trees over here. Painted this area. I mean, I'll be honest, this kind of looks quite nice, especially with, in fact, you know what? This actually does look really nice. I am tempted to what I'm going to do is just do that. This looks surprisingly good. Should I move in closer to the track? Perhaps a little bit more. No, I'll do that. Perhaps. There we go. I think that will do the trick. All I've got to do is wait for the train. Here it comes. Oh, we've got a double train. Oh, that's fancy. What do we have? Okay, that train's gone. So that's no good. There we go. Just gets a nice picture of the trains going around. I mean, I think this really does work well for this area. It just works all the way through. It's a shame of the level of detail, and of course this as well. So you could easily take a picture, and this is what I'm doing. So I'm looking at these and thinking, where is it possible to take pictures of these things, and how does it look? So if it looks good on a picture, then that means I'm doing something fairly okay. Right, other things that I did, of course, I painted in some wheat fields, and you can see that all of the tracks are changed to the correct tracks. I think even off camera, when I was not doing part of the time lapse, I actually decided I'm going to change everything else as well. Oh, could a photo from a poppy field do the trick? Could a photo from a poppy field look like what we'd want? Or just from here, really. Here comes the train. Is that going to look good enough? Unfortunately, we don't have the depth of field, so that is a shame. But otherwise, very quickly check. That's a good one. That's even better. There we go. There's another picture right there as this goes into the... There it goes. And that goes into the tunnel that this road crosses, which means that you could probably get a fairly decent picture from here, couldn't you? Ah, no, there's trees in the way. Perhaps... Well, no. Now, I'm just looking around, just trying to... As I said, if it looks good in terms of... See, that looks pretty good. If it looks good in terms of a picture, then I've probably done something somewhat correct. So, for example, that there does actually look rather nice. One thing that I'd say that perhaps does not look quite as nice here on this side would be the bushes on the opposite side of this cutting. The opposite side of the cutting, it doesn't quite work. So just here, maybe I need to add something or other. Here comes a train. Could I pause that and try and get a picture? Yeah, now you just see that I'm just basically going around doing a little bit of a smidge of photography, really, which is all well and good. There we go. It's difficult to get the right angles here in this. Well, I suppose we could see that. I can see the tree, the tunnel opening. I don't think that's too bad. And a train. Okay, well, I should probably stop that. What else did I do? Yes, I went ahead and off camera changed all the rest of these lines as well. You can see, I mean, they kind of stick out like a sore thumb, don't they? But they are changed to the new ones, and I think these lines look great all the way through. So I've done all of that, and of course one part that you might have seen me doing was where is it? Here we go. Trying to use one of the stone walls. Now, I'm not entirely certain about this. I was just trying to see what would happen. How could I detail up a path? I'm not all too keen on how this has panned out, so I'm not sure that I will be using it quite in this way. I'm sure there's a way for me to do this better, but this was not it. And the other thing, of course, that I did was go along here and start changing these defenses. Now, this is, I think, what one of my patrons, Major Magna, was talking about, is that instead of having it there, have it further up. as where the bushes were initially. So I think that might be what has happened there, and that's off and on its way. I also try to add in perhaps some of these buildings, which I might try and use some of these. I think that they might give the farms just a little bit more character, and I think we certainly need that on the farms. So with that, I'm going to end this particular video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the time lapse. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Transports Fever 2, the UK modded series. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think, any suggestions and ideas that you might have. Also, if you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon at www.patreon.com/ECGadget. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really, really help me out. I mean, as I said, the detailing on this takes an incredibly long time, and any amount of monetary support that you could give me would enable me to perhaps invest a little bit more. I cannot make this much faster, but I can certainly look to make the game smoother. I can certainly look to perhaps upgrade equipment to make rendering faster, editing faster, things like that, which will eventually allow me to spend more time just building things in the game and increasing the detail. Off camera, I am of course going to be doing a little bit more in the way of farm builds. So for example, I might just fill out this area here in Alford. I did that already on camera towards the back of Bracknell. I just wasn't sure what to do here, so I left it, but I've done this area. I probably need to fill out this area over here, and I did this bit, and also started getting rid of some of the colours, which is starting to make that look a little bit better, I would say, in my opinion. I mean, just to give you an example, as an example right here, that there immediately makes this so much better. And it's just because the colours are just slightly off. That's all it is. It's the colours are just slightly off from what they perhaps should be, and that makes it look oddly, well, it just makes it look odd. I was going to say oddly colourful, but I think no, it's just odd. I think that colour literally is why it's odd. So there we go. The colour and the level of detail of the textures, for example, you can see what that does. It does kind of ruin it. But this is much better. There we go. I'll leave whatever this is. Is it corn? I can't remember. Is it beets or hops or something? Again, from a distance it doesn't look great, but there we go. Coming back in, that is starting to look so much better. So yes, thank you very much for watching. Also, if I didn't mention this already, you can find me on social media at ECGadget LP for both Twitter and Instagram. I'll also probably look off camera to perhaps do this little part south of Ollerton and then start working on this area. I think I did this already a couple of episodes ago, so I will try my very best to start filling these out before the next video. But for now, I will see you. I say for now, it's pretty much ending. I will see you in the next episode of Transports Fever 2, the UK modded series.